Hey guys, it's Brandon again. So today, right now, I'm going to be speaking about mental health and fitness, and how if you don't have your mental health, you are not going to have your physical health. Um, this hits personally just because I've gone through things to where I have weighed 180 pounds, and then I've also dropped down to 145 pounds. So yeah, this is a topic that is very relevant to my life. So, if you guys didn't know, there are 42.5 million Americans, adult Americans, that suffer from mental health disorders, and that is approximately 18.5% of our population. So that's almost a fourth of our population, and it is on the rise. So it is something that needs to be looked at and addressed more heavily, and I think there's just a stigma around it that you can't see the sickness, so you can't always see the sickness, so it's hard to talk about. It's hard to pinpoint what exactly is going on. And so for mental health, I'm going to be focusing on depression and anxiety more heavily than the others. And so for depression can look like a lot of things. Maybe not to someone that is just walking down the street and you might pass a person and they smile at you. That smile underneath can actually be it can actually be hurting a lot more than we know. And so a lot of signs, with depression are weight fluctuating, isolating themselves, not wanting to get out of bed, lack of motivation, and it's not just being sad. It's being sad and down for extended periods of time. It can affect work, relationships, and just overall well-being. And if you can imagine being depressed and not even wanting to get out of bed to eat a meal, it's going to be difficult for them to be able to make it to the gym or go for a run or a hike or anything. And so about 6.9% of our U.S. adult population suffers from depression, and that's about 16 million adults. So you probably know someone who is depressed, even though they might not always show it to you. And um, it is a disease that eats you from the inside out, and it can it really tries to take a hold of your whole being. It feels like everyone else is moving on around you. They're doing things, they're getting on with life, they're working, they're playing with their kids, they're getting married, and it seems like you might just be in this rut that, oh, next year will be better, or, oh, 2017 is going to be my year. No, there are steps that we all have to take, or that this population needs to take in order to get better, whether it's medication, therapy, support groups, whatever they may need, and it can vary individual to individual. Someone just picking up a book might relieve them a little bit of depression. Um, so yeah, that's just a little bit on depression, and now we're gonna move into anxiety. Anxiety is one that might be harder to pinpoint, because these individuals may still have the energy and motivation to get out of bed and do things, or to want to be a part of society. They just don't necessarily know how to sometimes, and their anxiety can be crippling. One perfect example is of the newscaster we had watched in class, who it just looked like he hiccuped and was trying to catch his breath and just was reading the teleprompter slowly. On the inside, his head is going crazy and running wild and doesn't know what's happening and why is this happening and why am I starting to sweat? Why are my hands tingling? Why can I not catch my breath as quickly as possible? Or like, why can I not catch my breath? Why? Just why? Why is a good question for these anxious people. And they focus on the future, what ifs, what if I had done this, what if I've done this different. And again, just like our people with depression, these individuals need to work towards these certain coping mechanisms to be able to take a step back and realize, hey, you know, there's something wrong. Obviously, it's not physically coming out, but in reality, it is going to, again, eat them from the inside out. It is very mentally debilitating not knowing why you can't get past these little issues, or why being in a certain social situation is really hard. Why is it hard to be around for your family, which just might be a family get together of 5, where you can go out and party with 50 people. It is a very interesting disease that disorder that still needs to be talked about more heavily, and there needs to be more of an open space for people with a mental illness. And for our numbers for anxiety, it is 18.1% of our U.S. adult population, and that is 40 million adults suffering with some kind of anxiety disorder, whether it's social, general anxiety, OCD, any of those. So mental illness is definitely something that really needs to be more openly talked about, because with this, it starts with talking. It starts with finding people that are going through similar situations. It is going to your doctors, finding out what's going on with your brain chemistry, if you need medication or not. And when, medication also kind of has a really bad name on it for this as well, because it's just like, why do I need to take medication to fix something that others can't see, but on the inside it feels like someone may be dying. I know of certain individuals that have landed themselves in the emergency room because they think they're having a heart attack, or their chest is really tight because they are having such an intense anxiety attack. And there's nothing shameful or wrong with these individuals, and me being one of them. There's nothing to be afraid of. The only thing to be afraid of is not getting help and not seeking out the people that are there to support you. And that is where I move into the exercise portion, is if your mind isn't right, you're not going to be able to do the physical demands that you want to, or that your body wants you or needs you to do. You're going to be too lethargic, too fatigued to get in your best 1-hour workout. So for regular exercise for these individuals, I would say first, if they're your client, you need to support them and maybe link them up with a support group that's in the area, and maybe even go with them. It helps a lot to know that you have people there. So it starts with support. It starts with feeling comfortable. It starts with getting to know them, them getting to know you. Them getting to know you is going to be huge, because if they're not comfortable with themselves and what's going on in their mind and their body, it's just not going to work, and we want it to work. And so moving into an actual exercise, I wouldn't for these individuals, I wouldn't for this population, I wouldn't even necessarily say ask them, what are your goals? What are your goals for our exercise program? I would start out by asking them, what do you like to do? Because if they can't even tell you what they like to do, that's a huge, huge indicator of, depression, lack of motivation, anxiety, not getting out enough. So we can even just work on that, getting them outside, getting them hiking, finding these activities that they like. Once we can find these certain activities that they enjoy, and we know that they enjoy, that's when we can move into our actual programming, in my opinion. And I would treat this population after, creating that bond and figuring out what they like to do and getting that support system. That's when we can start, saying, okay, now what are your fitness goals? What are your goals, like, in the fitness world? So, in the fitness world, for these individuals, I would just say, cardio, muscle strength, muscle endurance, and for as much as they can take or as much as they like. We're not going to force them to powerlift if they, like indoor cycling or taking a cycling class with a group, because it's a group setting and attention's not on them, but they're getting what they need out. They're getting those endorphins, the oxytocin, they're getting their serotonin going, they're getting all of that and more, because it's helping their brain chemistry and it's helping them feel good about themselves. And then a huge component of their exercise program would be mind and body. We are wanting them to go to yoga, do Pilates, meditate, breathe. Just breathe. Breathing exercises are huge. If you can get them to focus on their breathing for 10 minutes, I know that seems like a crazy long time, but I've done it, and 10 minutes just to breathe and relax, give them their own peace of mind, whereas all those things going on, racing on in their head, they can breathe it out, and now we're geared to go. Now we can start our exercise. And like I said, as much as they can take cardio, muscle endurance, strength, and then we can start maybe seeing a difference if they're taking all the necessary steps, seeing their doctor, having support groups, making connections is huge, and there are major connections through the fitness world. One group here in Boulder and in the Denver area is called Phoenix Multisport. It is for sober athletes that go through mental illness as well. You can just go to their website, phoenixmultisport.com, or you can just even Google Phoenix Multisport, and they have activities going on every single day. It's awesome in the summer. They go on event trips. It's free, so it's that nice support group that people can go to. So yeah, if there are any of you struggling with anything, whether it's addiction, mental illness, anything, Phoenix Multisport's a great resource. And to wrap it up, I would say it starts with the mind, then we can work on our physical appearance, but then I always say look good, feel good, and so I think it all coincides with each other. And I thank you guys for listening, and I hope this was a little bit of an educational piece. And so yeah, have a good day.